Britt Baker's absence from AEW television has now stretched nearly a full year, and this silence has triggered major speculation that her run with the company may be over in everything but name. She last wrestled in late 2024, and since then, not a single appearance has been made on AEW programming. Fans had circled AEW's recent Pittsburgh event as the perfect return moment. Baker is the city's most recognizable star, and a comeback there would have generated huge buzz. Instead, not only did she fail to appear, but reports confirm she wasn't even backstage. For many, this signals that AEW has no short-term plan for her. The Pittsburgh no-show was particularly glaring because even AEW insiders had hinted that if Baker were to return, that would be the stage. Dave Meltzer commented that if she didn't come back in her hometown, fans should probably assume the relationship is finished. Meltzer's take has gained traction because the logic is clear. A wrestler tied so strongly to a market is almost guaranteed to be used there if the promotion still views them as an asset. The lack of involvement may have been AEW's quiet message that Britt Baker's role has been eliminated. Behind the scenes, rumors suggest growing tensions between Baker and other members of the women's locker room. Multiple reports have surfaced over the past year claiming she is not especially well liked, with several wrestlers regarding her as difficult to collaborate with. These claims were amplified by stories of past friction, including alleged comments made about other talent that created unnecessary heat. AEW has struggled with locker room issues before, and Baker has reportedly found herself in the middle of more than one dispute. One particularly damaging rumor involved an incident with MJF. According to insiders, Baker was overheard speaking negatively about him, and word of those remarks traveled quickly. MJF confronted the situation directly, escalating tension. The fallout was said to have reached Tony Khan, who was left frustrated at having two of his top stars in conflict. While not publicly confirmed, this story has circulated widely and continues to be cited as a turning point in her backstage reputation. Creative disagreements also appear to have played a role. Baker was a central figure in AEW's women's division from 2019 through 2022, carrying the title and anchoring but as new stars emerged, it's believed she clashed with management about her position. Some reports say she resisted plans that she felt diminished her status, while others argue AEW simply struggled to balance the roster. The end result was an apparent creative stalemate, with Khan opting to remove her from television rather than force through an unhappy arrangement. There is also chatter that Baker herself has sought an exit. Several outlets reported that she explored the idea of leaving AEW and perhaps even testing the waters with WWE. Her partner, Adam Cole, remains in AEW, which complicates that possibility, but the speculation has only grown as her absence continues. The notion that she is unhappy enough to want out is believable, given the total lack of usage for nearly 12 months. Tony Khan, however, has publicly denied that Baker has asked for a release. In media interviews, he has emphasized that she remains under a multi-year deal and that her absence is simply part of AEW's broader rotation of talent. He praised her abilities, calling her one of the most important women in the company's history, and insisted that she would be back when the time is right. Yet many fans view this as standard, non-committal language rather than a true sign of plans in motion. Contract length is one of the biggest factors here. Baker signed a multi-year extension in 2021, and industry sources have indicated that her deal runs into late 2026. If true, this means AEW can simply pay her without using her for nearly 2 more years. The company has done this before, with other talent, keeping them on the payroll until contracts expire rather than granting early releases. For Baker, this could mean a lengthy limbo period where she is neither active nor free to work elsewhere. What makes this situation stranger is that Baker has not kept herself busy in wrestling outside AEW. Other sideline stars have often returned to the independent scene, making appearances to keep themselves sharp and visible. Baker, however, has limited her public activity to occasional convention appearances and signings. She has not wrestled on the independents, which has left her almost completely absent from the conversation. Out of sight, out of mind is a dangerous reality in wrestling, and her inactivity only fuels the perception that she has been shelved. Some close to Baker insist she is ready and eager to return. Diamond Dallas Page even spoke publicly, saying she was in ring shape, medically cleared, and motivated to perform again. He openly called on Tony Khan to get her back on television. Statements like that suggest her absence is not due to injury or unwillingness, but purely a matter of AEW not booking her. If true, this further frustrates fans who see an established star wasting away while the company struggles to build new household names. The timing of AEW's decision to sideline Baker is especially questionable. Given the current state of the women's division, critics argue the division lacks depth, star power, and consistent booking. Baker, regardless of whether fans love or hate her, undeniably brings recognition and credibility. In an era where AEW needs ratings, boosts, and headline attractions, leaving her unused seems counterproductive. Even a one-off return in Pittsburgh would have been a smart promotional move, and the fact it didn't happen only deepens confusion. Another key element is fan reaction. Social media has repeatedly lit up whenever AEW runs Pittsburgh, with thousands of fans expecting or demanding her return. Each time it doesn't happen, frustration grows. Hardcore AEW supporters and casual viewers alike view her as one of the company's original pillars. Failing to deliver her return in her home city has left many questioning whether AEW still values the stars that built its early identity. There is also growing speculation that WWE is keeping a close eye on the situation. While there is no public evidence of negotiations, fans online frequently imagine what a WWE run for Britt Baker would look like. Her promo skills and character work would translate easily to WWE television. And with AEW apparently sidelining her, the temptation to jump when her deal ends would be significant. WWE has shown a willingness to sign AEW originals, and Baker would be one of the most high-profile names they could grab. Until then, the silence remains deafening. Baker herself has not issued any strong public comments about her AEW status. She has not cut cryptic promos on social media or teased appearances in other promotions. Her Twitter and Instagram activity has been limited, often focusing more on personal life or appearances outside of wrestling. This lack of communication leaves fans to fill in the gaps with speculation, often assuming the worst about her future in the ring. The contrast between Britt Baker's career 2 years ago and her status today is stark. She was once the face of AEW's women's division, a former world champion, and a centerpiece of major pay-per-view events. Now she is completely absent, with no storyline, no rivalries, and no clear path back. For a wrestler of her stature, the fall from prominence is dramatic, and it raises serious questions about how AEW manages its top talent when relationships sour. AEW has demonstrated a pattern of simply letting contracts expire rather than engaging in confrontations over releases. This may be the exact playbook being used with Baker, by keeping her off television but still under contract. AEW avoids giving her momentum elsewhere while quietly running down the clock. For fans hoping for a sudden return, this could mean disappointment month after month until her contract ends. The reality is that Britt Baker is still a star. Her name carries weight, her merchandise has sold strongly in the past, and her connection to audiences is undeniable. Whether fans chant her name in support or boo her out of arenas, she generates reactions. AEW has very few women capable of commanding that level of attention. Not using her seems like a strategic mistake, especially at a time when the company needs as many difference makers as possible. As things stand now, the safest assumption is that Baker remains under contract, but AEW has no short-term creative plans for her. Unless something dramatic shifts, she may spend the rest of her deal on the sidelines. That would leave her free in 2026 to negotiate elsewhere, at which point WWE could make a serious push. Until then, the Britt Baker situation remains one of the strangest and most frustrating sagas in recent wrestling memory. A top star, still on the roster, yet treated as if she doesn't exist.